Welcome to video 4. In this video, we will pick up where we left off in the last video, where we ran the practice data, and the practice data is now our baseline. Click on the Comparisons tab. You can see that method 1 was the best method of those tested. The total interest using method 1 was $97,982.71. And you can scroll over to see the times required for payoff of all loans using method 1. Please pause the video and refresh yourself with the baseline data from the prior video. Okay, now you're back. Click on the Data Entry tab and return to the data entry sheet. As in the previous video, pretend that you are either George or Helen. I will assume that you are following along on your own copy of My Debt Killer and pausing as necessary. Our goal will be to see what we can do to lower your total interest payment even more. Assuming you have maxed out on loan consolidation, single upfront payments, reduction of required minimum payments, refinancing to lower rates, there are only two things you can control. One, the amount you can afford to pay each month, and two, the minimum amount you are paying on your loans. The amount you can afford to pay each month has already been determined from your monthly budgeting. And at least for now, let's assume that that has been set. When the minimum payments you have selected are, for various reasons, greater than the minimum required by your lender, you can choose to lower these payments. Let's have a look at how you might approach changing your minimum payments in order to make the money you're paying on your loans work more efficiently. As we have seen, the baseline run of your data has demonstrated that paying off your loans by devoting the excess to the highest rate loan at each monthly payment yields the lowest total interest payment. If, irrespective of the loan balances, you could lower the monthly payments on some of the loans with the lowest interest rates, the program would automatically increase the excess and on each monthly payment shift the extra funds to the highest interest rate loans. Assuming payoff method 1 remains the best method out of those tested, this change could prove beneficial. Let's investigate this possibility. Now click the Add Additional Loan Data button. This will bring up information that George and Helen have recorded for their various loans. To make it easier to look at the low interest rate loans, remember that our loans have been recorded from highest rate to lowest rate. Click anywhere in the page and use the touchpad, mouse, or touch screen to move the lower rate loans closer to the row labels on the worksheet, with loan 16 adjacent to the labels for the data entry cells. Move the additional loan data box to the right of loan 20. This is a special dialog box. You can work back and forth between the text in this dialog box and any loan that you are working on. And you can do this without exiting the dialog box. Within the additional dialog box, select loan 16 as a place to start reviewing the comments about the lower interest rate loans. So let's tab over the point where we can select loan 16. Now pause the video and read what George and Helen have said about the lower interest rate loans, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Okay, now you're back. What do these loans have in common? Pause the video and answer this question for yourself. If necessary, return to the additional loan data dialog box. Okay, now you're back. These loans have in common the fact that it is possible to reduce all of their current minimum payments. In fact, for loans 16, 18, 19, and 20, the payments could be deferred indefinitely. So the current minimum payments on those loans could be set to zero. In addition, for loan 17, it is possible to pay interest only on this loan, which is a mere $6. In the interest of time, I have paused the video and I have made the changes we have discussed before. Be careful and don't click the set current practice data by mistake, as it has been partially moved into the field by the changes that we have made. Based on the comments by George and Helen, I have set the current minimum payments for loan 16, 18, 19, and 20 to 0. 16, 18, 19, and 20. Since loan 16 will no longer have interest as its current minimum, I have changed true to false. For loan 17, I have honored Uncle George's wish and set the current minimum payment to $6, which is the current interest payment. And in order that the minimum will remain the current interest payment throughout the analysis, I have changed false to true. Pause the video and make the changes that I have made in loans 16 through 20 in your copy of my Debt Killer. If necessary, reread the comments on the loans again. Okay, you're back. Let's exit the additional loan data dialog box. You have to click yes. Before we run the data analysis, slide the page left to right to bring column C back. Notice that the changes that we have made have increased the initial excess to $1,000.68. It was $741. That's an additional $259 of initial excess that, if payoff method 1 remains our best option, we can put to work against the highest interest rate loans. Now it's time for you to run the data and see what happens. Click the Analyze Your Data button. Click No to the dialog box, which would change your baseline data if you clicked yes. Look at the best option. It is interesting that we are still have method 1 as the best of the methods which have been evaluated. Look at the worst option. Notice the savings, and be sure and click yes to the view data box. Click yes to the add explanation for your changes, and when the box comes up, type in a complete explanation. I will just add this is my explanation. In your case, if you are running your own data, you should type a more detailed explanation so that when you return to the data to look at your analysis, you will be reminded of what you are thinking. Remember that you can save these notebooks one after another if you're running different analyses on your data, or if you're running the analysis after the data has after your situation has changed in some way. Click OK. Now this takes us to the comparison page. Click OK to done. Before you come to the comparisons page, you should have paused the video and typed in your own explanation. Okay, you are back. Now hover over the changes as comment problem, a column, and notice that the sheet tells you the changes that you have made. As you continue to do different analyses and have a long column of data here, you will be able to go here and see what you have done. You would also be able to see what your explanation was. Look at the change in interest column to see that the changes we have made, these simple changes, have saved you $6,139.30. Wow, that is a significant change. Now scroll across the page and notice that all of the loans are either paid off more quickly or in the same amount of time. This is amazing, since we were allowing the lower interest rate loans to accumulate interest without any payments, while the higher interest rate loans were being paid off. Pause the video and make yourself familiar with this data. Okay, you're back. Now click the interest data by approach tab. For comparison, I have made a copy of the interest by approach table from the baseline run. This table here we will save for later. This will not be available on this table here will not be available on your workbook. I will make these copies happen automatically in the next upgrade of the workbook. Notice on the video screen as you compare these two tables that the order of the payoff methods has changed. Smallest to largest by initial size method is significantly worse compared to the baseline after the changes we have made. So the improvement that we have noticed is highly dependent on the model that we ran for payoff. In an attempt to improve things, this bad choice has been made worse. Possible improvements that could be made in the way George and Helen pay off their loans. If we could get more than $6,000 from the simple changes we have made, wouldn't it be exciting if we could save some more money or learn some more about our opportunities to save money? After working with this video, you should be feeling fairly confident in using the My Debt Killer workbook. With a little practice, it becomes second nature and very easy. I will see you in the next video where we will run an interesting experiment with this data. Do not change anything in your workbook because we want to retain the current baseline and we want to retain the information from this run.